The book of Judges sometimes seems like a broken record. So the people sin, and then the Lord saves them, and then they're good for a while, but then they sin, and then there's all these years of oppression, decades sometimes, and then the Lord saves them. You would think that history would have taught them exactly who they needed to put their dependence and their reliance on, but we're so human. I think we do that all the time. Like, we are very good at going back to something that we think is tangible and right in front of us and that's going to protect us and save us. And we see that the nation of Israel had been cruelly oppressed by the Philistines for 40 years because their hearts had wandered and strayed from the Lord. And yet God raises up Samson, a very mighty and powerful judge for very unique reasons. And he's been actually set apart from birth. It might seem kind of strange to us, but in his story, he was given the vow of a Nazirite, which, I don't understand what that meant for a good long time. But basically, he was supposed to be set apart, so he was supposed to live his life differently. His parents were uniquely instructed for him what it meant to obey these kind of restraints on his life, or this vow that he was supposed to take. So this vow had three main features: no wine or grapevine items, like you're not having any wine, no unclean food, and no razor upon your head. It seems a little odd to me, but this was the rule. This was what was going on for him. Now, that does not mean, yes, that like if you never get your hair cut, never have any grape juice, and never eat any unclean food, that we get this kind of strength. This is not how this works. But in his life, this is what God had spoken to him and his family, his parents, and God was going to do some mighty things through Samson. He appears to have followed that vow for a very long time. These are marks of obedience that were to be on his life, for, it says in verse 5, he will take the lead in delivering Israel from the hands of the Philistines. Now we can see through today's episode that Samson is tricked and trapped on several occasions in both chapters 14 and 15. Yet he always seems to rise above, and so he wars against those who hurt him. He struck many blows to the Philistines with feats of great strength. He can kill men with a donkey's jawbone. He struck down a lion with his bare hands. He took city gates and wrestled them off their posts and then placed them on a hill. He was like a superhero type, kind of the Old Testament superhero. And yet, after trying to figure out the source of his strength, eventually one day he's tricked by a woman. And we see that his trap, the thing that really hurt him, was self-reliance. So he stopped relying on the Lord as his strength, and he gave up the secret because he thought to himself, I'll go out just like I did before. Like I'm almost untouchable. It says in verse 16:20, he awoke from his sleep and thought, I will go out as I did before. I'll shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. This is after they had cut his hair and his strength was gone. The vow was broken. He thought, it's cool. Like, I'll just go out. I'll do everything that I did before. But he did not realize that the Lord had left him. And how sad is that? I never want to be in a place where I don't know that I'm moving away from the Lord. Like, I want to feel different. I want to know if I am drifting because I want to be near God. And yet Samson had drifted, and the punishment was severe. He was captured by his enemies, who he had done some crazy things too. So they were out for revenge. They were out for blood. They gouged out his eyes. They made him a beast of burden of senses. He treaded grain. It was a humiliating job. It says that they actually put him in this great place where there were thousands of people, and he was their entertainment. What does that mean? Were they laughing at him? Were they mocking? Were they jeering? It couldn't have been pretty. And yet, throughout this time, his hair has grown back. He must have been in prison for a while. And he turns back to his source of strength, and he says, God, would you work through me one more time? And he asks to be set near the pillars of this gathering place, and he pushes them, and the whole place collapses. And it says more people died. He killed more people in his death than he did even in his life. And there's even this reckoning that comes on the Philistines. God even used him even in that death and even that sad and tragic way. And even though today's story, it is tragic, it is sad, you can still see how God is faithful and he answered his prayer. And it's so important for us to realize that God is the source of our strength. God is the source of victory. It's not that we're so cool we can just do it. Even if God gave us great gifts, great talents, great abilities, we need to turn to the Lord and rely on Him. The people's heart continuously were drawn away because I think they thought that they had this. But I think that we're actually blessed when we realize that God is the one who has this.